When I was in college, I studied criminology and criminal justice. And I remember taking my favorite class from criminal justice, which was called victimology. And in that class, we learned about all kinds of victims, victims of violent crimes, victims of domestic violence, victims of SAs, victims of robberies. We learned about all types of crimes and what victims go through. So we were doing our unit on domestic violence, and I'm sitting in class and our professor is explaining something called the cycle of power and control, which I'll put on the screen. So as the professor, I still remember her first name, it was Courtney, University of Maryland. As my professor is going through the cycle of power and control, I realized in the middle of that class that I had been in an abusive relationship. The reason I'm even talking about it today is because for those of us who keep up with Black celebrities, a lot of folks have heard about what's going on with Keke Palmer right now and the father of her child. I don't want to opine on Keke's life. I really respect her as an artist, as a woman. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to say,
see, I knew it was coming.
I think that's lame. So that's not what I'm here for. But I'm here to basically shine light on the fact that a lot of us have been in abusive situations and not realized it, because one thing that folks don't know is that that sort of violence, that sort of physical violence doesn't come out of nowhere, y'all. Doesn't come out of nowhere. There are steps that it takes in order to even get there. And often those steps feel, from the other side, at least for me in my young years as a teenager and in my early 20s, they felt like, wow, this dude's really into me. He must really love me because he's jealous. He wants all of my time. You know, he really cares about me and wants to be around me, when really that person's an abuser. And it's only a matter of time before the control gets greater and greater. And then boom, by the time a serious form of abuse happens, you're in too deep. So I wanted to share my story for other people, just because I know I'm not the only person who's been through this. The person I'm referring to was someone I was with for some years. He was a high school sweetheart, and I dated him in my early college years. It was not the model relationship at all. I'm not going to get into the details or disclose details about this person to respect their privacy and my own. There were already abusive dynamics. Like I said, the smaller steps like isolation, turning you against certain family members, monopolizing your time so that you don't spend as much time with friends, having input on how you spend your money, those sorts of things. Saying things that when you lack confidence, or when you're a beautiful person and don't realize that you're beautiful, people can say things to you that just slide on by and you don't think it's weird. Like one of the things that he had said to me was,
all my friends thought that you were too Black, but I saw the potential in you, so I started to date you.
Mind you, this was a dark-skinned Black man. But he said, my friends thought you were too Black, but I decided to give you a chance. For me, at that stage, as a dark-skinned Black girl who had been made fun of for my skin complexion, who had been told that, you know, you're too dark-skinned, or you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl, or not even called pretty by that point in life, I just thought like, oh, damn. Okay, maybe I'm lucky, because he's really cute and a lot of women like him. So he's probably right. I'm lucky to be in this relationship. It's such a mind F-U-C-K being in that sort of situation. And I remember him also justifying physical abuse of another woman. There was another girl in our neighborhood who was in a publicly physically abusive relationship. And he was friends with the abuser and said,
you know, sometimes a man loves a woman so much that he beats her because he just loves her so much.
Again, I'm young, I'm a teenager, it went over my head. Until later, fast forward, he threatens to hurt me, you know.
If you leave me, I will unalive myself. If you do that again, I will unalive you.
And by the time you reach that point where it's like, oh, wow, I've been with this person for 4 years and they're saying this to me now, you are in so deep. You are in so deep. So I'm just mindful of not judging folks, because you never know what kind of situation you're in. And often we like to think that we're above certain types of situations. But the truth is, when you are in it, when you are in love, when someone is able to find out all your buttons and what it takes to woo you, and when you've been love bombed and given all sorts of positive affirmation and care, and then all of a sudden this person becomes violent, it's embarrassing. And you don't want to tell anybody because it's like, whoa, what did I do to cause this? How did I miss the signs? And that secrecy and shame leads to more abuse. So for anybody who is in that sort of situation, I pray that you're able to get out. It is not easy for women to escape these situations, which is another reason to be empathetic. I just like to approach things with empathy, y'all. Same goes for Jada Pinkett Smith. I know that she has been the butt of a lot of internet jokes, which is really irritating to me. I'm not a Jada stan, like, by any means, but I don't really stan anybody except Beyonce. But I don't stan anybody. But she is a woman deserving of respect. She is an artist in her own right, and the fact that she is being simplified to be Will Smith's wife, as opposed to this woman who has done incredible things in her career as well, is laughable to me. Black women are often easy targets for this sort of fodder because who else can be the biggest punchline but a black woman? We all know what Malcolm X said, right? About the most unprotected person in America is the black woman, and it shows. It shows how easily we are the butt of the jokes, and how we often do that to each other as black women. I remember in, I believe it's Audre Lorde's Sister Citizen, there's a chapter about black women having adversarial relationships with each other, becoming each other's enemy. There being tension amongst us when we're in spaces with each other. And I think it shows itself a lot when it comes to these sorts of situations. The type of dialogue that comes out of them is not usually productive. It's usually pointing out how
that woman messed up. She squandered this opportunity to be with this rich man, Will Smith. She is the problem. She.
As opposed to, that's none of our business. We're not in their relationship. We don't know what's been going on in all them years they've been together. But of course, she's the easy target, even when she hasn't said anything. Even before she said much, she's been an easy target. So I'm not president of the Jada fan club, but I do think that if you are a black woman who's been posting memes of her, consider why. What is it about her that makes that situation funny? Have you ever been in that sort of situation before where you are with somebody who behaves in such a way that's like, whoa? Because I have. I've been at a party with that same ex where somebody bumped into him too hard and he got into a fight. Do you think my little ass, I'm little, I'm 5'4". Do you think my little ass was about to jump in the middle? Like, no. I don't know what that was. Hey, spirit. But yeah, I wasn't about to put my little self in between two grown men fighting. For what? For who? Why mess up the face? Why? But on a serious note, I want to approach situations and people with empathy, because empathy is so missing in this age of folks trying to go viral, of folks trying to be the funny person, of folks trying to be the first person to post about a situation or a hot topic or beat the algorithm with a hot take. These aren't hot takes. These are just opinions. And one thing that I keep thinking about when I see all these memes and all these jokes is that what we dislike in other people, we have in ourselves. Game recognized game. And it's looking familiar. If you're able to pinpoint what is wrong with somebody, look in the mirror. And I've had to realize this truth about myself. So I'm not accusing y'all of anything that I have not had to examine on my own. As far as colleagues who have annoyed me the most, we have similar qualities. Friendships that have fallen apart where I'm able to point at all the things wrong that friend did. I could look at myself and be like, oh yeah, I did a little bit of that too. So it just takes a lot of self-reflection and love and empathy. And I send love to all my black women who become the butts of jokes, because it's damaging and it's not funny. And I think this world could use a lot more kindness. Call it cheesy if you want, but we could use a lot more kindness toward each other, because we are all on a journey. We are all healing. We are all growing. And we should be able to grow. And it's hard to grow, like Erykah Badu said. Sometimes it's hard to move, you see, when you're growing publicly. So it's hard to move when you're growing publicly. I would hate to grow publicly, and I kind of am by posting my journey, but on such a smaller scale. Imagine 1,000,000 people watching you grow. Imagine 1,000,000 people having comments for your biggest mistakes or for the pitfalls of your relationships, or you being a victim of something that you didn't even necessarily bring on yourself. Imagine that, y'all. So that is my 2 cents on those situations. I'm always going to be here for Black women. I'm rooting for everybody Black, especially Black women and femmes, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about what I've said and your opinions on that situation. I want to keep it kind and positive. All that toxicity, not welcome on this channel. So I look forward to hearing y'all's thoughts. Take care. Bye.